Hello, and welcome back to the Circular Economy Excellent podcast. I'm Henrik Hvid Jensen, and in today's episode, we explore chapter 11 of my book. This chapter focuses on the critical role of internal IT systems in enabling circular business models. As always, I used AI to digest and interpret the content of chapter 11, creating a conversation between two artificial minds that will help break down the key insights in chapter 11. I wrote this chapter because circularity isn't just a shift in business models, it's a shift in operations, logistics, and data management. Manufacturers must rethink how they track, process, and optimize resources across the product lifecycle. And none of this is possible without a well-integrated internal IT system. This chapter is particularly important because internal IT is the backbone of circularity, handling everything from real-time monitoring, digital product passports, and predictive maintenance to waste management, product returns, and circular procurement. Without IT system that supports circular processes, manufacturers risk falling behind in efficiency, compliance, and competitiveness. Here's what you will learn in today's discussion. You will hear about how internal IT enables circularity from supply chain tracking to customer relationship management. We will discuss why reverse logistics must be digitalized to optimize product returns, repairs, and redistribution. We will also hear that the role of AI, IoT, and predictive analytics in managing product life cycles and maximizing material reuse. We will see how inventory management, procurement system, and waste management software must evolve to support circular manufacturing. A well-structured internal IT system isn't just a support function, it's the key enabler of circular success. So let's dive into this AI-powered conversation and explore how manufacturers must evolve their digital capabilities to thrive in a circular economy.
Right, so today we're diving deep into chapter 11 of this book by Henrik Hvid Jensen.
Yeah.
Called Circular Economy Opportunities and Pathways for Manufacturers. And this is a pretty dense chapter.
Yeah.
But it's all about how IT systems can actually be used to like really promote and support and even like be the backbone of a circular economy, which is really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that like IT systems would be all that important to a circular economy, but he really makes the case that it's pretty crucial.
I mean, it's like the unsung hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the IT systems, like you think about all the data and all the tracking and all the insights, like that is needed to move from a like make, use, dispose model to a circular one.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's needed for everything.
Yeah.
Like from the design of a product, like eco-design to managing its return at the end of its life. It's like
it's the whole journey.
Yeah, the whole life cycle.
Yeah, it's the whole life cycle. He even uses this fictional company in here called Smart Flow Pumps.
Yes.
And it talks about like how this company uses like IoT sensors and like a digital product passport to really manage their pumps.
Right.
You know, throughout the whole life cycle.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool example.
Me too.
Because it really highlights how you can use these technologies to optimize the use of a product and track it. And ultimately make sure that it's either reused or recycled appropriately.
And to even move from selling a product to selling a service.
Right, exactly.
Like, because that was a big part of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, instead of selling a pump, you're selling...
The pumping.
Yeah, the pumping is a service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so that really changes the whole business model, right?
Right.
It's really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and you need those IT systems to be able to manage that. Like, you need to be able to track the pump. You need to be able to monitor its performance, and you need to be able to bill the customer based on usage.
Right.
All of that requires a pretty sophisticated IT infrastructure.
And to like schedule maintenance.
Right.
And things like that. Yeah, really interesting. He also talks about some real world examples too. And one that comes to mind is like the Volkswagen Group.
Right.
They have a whole system for recovering valuable materials from production waste.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, like turning trash into treasure, kind of. It's like they're using IT systems to track those materials and find ways to reuse or recycle them.
Yeah.
And then he even talks about like how CRM systems need to evolve.
Totally.
It's not just about making a sale anymore. It's about
fostering that ongoing dialogue with the customer throughout the product's life and making sure that they know how to use it properly, how to maintain it
in an even way,
and how to dispose of it responsibly.
Yeah, how to return it. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's really like a whole new way of thinking about CRM.
It is.
I mean, in a traditional sense, it's really just about
close the sale, move on.
Yeah.
Next customer.
Yeah.
But in a circular economy, you want to keep that customer engaged.
Right.
You want to keep them informed.
Yeah.
You want to build that relationship so that they're more likely to participate in those circular loops.
And you want to reward them for
exactly.
returning stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like give them incentives, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Which is really interesting. And then, of course, he dives into all these like different business models that are emerging, like re-commerce, product as a service, the sharing economy.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about tweaking existing systems.
Yeah.
It's about designing whole new systems to support these new models.
And he really makes the case that each of those models, like re-commerce, product as a service, sharing economy, they all need very specific IT support.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? To actually work.
Yeah, like take product as a service, which we talked about earlier with those pumps.
Yeah.
It's like Spotify, but for physical goods, right? You're not buying the product, you're subscribing to its use.
Right.
And to manage that, you need systems for managing subscriptions.
Yeah.
Tracking usage, handling billing, ensuring that the service is delivered seamlessly.
Right. It's a lot.
It's a lot more complex than just selling a product and walking away.
Right. Totally.
But the potential benefits are huge.
Oh, yeah.
Both for businesses and for the environment.
Totally. And then the sharing economy is the same way, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got these platforms where people are sharing access to products.
Yeah.
And that requires
real-time tracking, booking systems, ways to build trust and cooperation between users.
Right.
It's a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah. And it's all powered by IT, right?
It's at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. So we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah, we are.
But I think it's clear that IT is playing a central role.
Absolutely.
In making all these new circular business models a reality.
Couldn't agree more.
And we'll dive even deeper into that in part 2.
Can't wait.
All right, so stay tuned for that.
Welcome back.
So we're back and ready to dive even deeper into the world of IT.
Yeah.
And circular economy. And I think maybe a good place to start is like supply chain management, because I think everyone kind of has a general idea of what that is, but it's really different in a circular economy.
It is. It's a whole different ballgame when you're thinking about managing products through multiple life cycles.
Right, because traditionally it's just like,
straight line.
I make it.
Yeah, make it, use it, toss it.
Yeah.
You know, very linear.
Very linear.
But in a circular economy, we're talking about loops.
Right.
We're talking about reuse, refurbishment,
remanufacturing,
recycling.
Yeah.
And your supply chain management system needs to be able to handle all of that.
So what does that actually look like?
Well, for starters, you need traceability.
Yeah.
You need to know where your products are.
At all times.
At all times.
From like the raw material stage.
From the very beginning to the very end and every step in between.
Okay, so that's a lot of data. That's a lot of tracking.
It is.
And how do you even do that? Like especially when you have products that are being reused and going through different owners, like
you need a system that can capture data from a variety of sources and integrate it all into a single view of the product's journey.
So this is where like IoT sensors and stuff come in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can use sensors to track products as they move through the supply chain.
Yeah.
You can use digital product passports to store information about the product.
Right.
And you can use blockchain to create a secure and transparent record.
Of the product's history.
This is like getting really complex.
It is.
But it sounds like it's necessary.
It is. If you want to do circularity, right?
Right.
You need to have this level of visibility and control over your products.
And then on top of that, you have the whole challenge of reverse logistics.
Yes, that's a big one.
Because you've got to get products back.
You do.
Right.
And that's not something that traditional supply chains are really designed to do.
No, they're designed to get it out.
Get it out there.
Yeah, get it out to the consumer.
To the consumer.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you reverse that flow?
Well, you need to have systems in place for managing those returns.
Yeah.
For handling inspections.
Yeah.
For determining the best next step for each product.
Okay.
Is it ready for resale?
Mm-hmm.
Does it need repairs?
Right.
Can it be remanufactured?
Or recycled.
Or recycled, exactly.
Okay, so it's like you're creating this whole other...
this whole other supply chain that's going in reverse.
It is. It's like a mirror image of the traditional supply chain.
And it all has to be like seamlessly integrated.
Yes, and that's the challenge.
Yeah.
You need to have systems that can talk to each other.
Yeah.
That can share data.
Yeah.
Can work together.
So your CRM system needs to know what's going on.
Exactly.
With the reverse logistics.
Right.
And your procurement system needs to know where those materials are coming from.
Exactly. It's all connected.
It's a lot.
It is.
But it's really fascinating.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about supply chain management in a circular economy.
Yeah.
What about CRM? Because we touched on that a little bit earlier.
Right. Well, CRM is another area that needs a major rethink in a circular economy.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer just about making the sale.
Right.
It's about building long-term relationships with customers.
Right, like fostering loyalty.
Exactly. You want customers to be engaged with your brand and with your products.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire life cycle.
So it's almost like you're not even selling a product anymore.
Right.
You're selling like a relationship.
Yeah, it's about providing a service, not just a product.
And that's where like the whole idea of servitization comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from selling products to selling services.
Okay.
And that requires a different approach to CRM.
So how does that actually play out?
Well, for example, your CRM system should be able to provide customers with information on how to use their products responsibly, how to extend their lifespan, how to dispose of them properly at the end of their life.
Yeah.
It should also be able to facilitate things like product returns, repairs, upgrades. It's about being there for the customer.
Throughout the whole journey.
Throughout the whole journey, exactly.
Okay, so it's like a concierge service almost.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
For your product.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Okay, so we've got supply chain management.
Yeah.
We've got customer relationship management. What about waste management?
Ah, yes, waste management.
Like, how do you even manage waste in a circular economy?
Well, that's where IT can really shine.
Okay.
Because you can use IT systems to track waste flows.
Yeah.
To identify opportunities for reuse and recycling.
Okay.
To even connect you with potential buyers for your byproducts.
Okay.
So you're not just throwing stuff away.
Right.
You're actually finding ways to use it.
Turning trash into treasure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's good for the environment and good for the bottom line.
So what would a sophisticated waste management system actually look like?
Well, it would need to be able to track different types of waste.
Yeah.
It would need to comply with environmental regulations.
Right.
And it would need to be able to analyze the economic viability of different waste management options.
Okay, so it's not just about like throwing things in the right bin.
No, it's about making smart decisions about how to handle waste.
Yeah.
And that requires data and analytics.
Okay.
And that's where IT comes in.
Right. It's like taking something that was very simple and making it way more complex.
But also way more efficient and way more sustainable.
Okay. So we've got supply chain management, CRM, waste management, any other like key IT systems that are super important for circularity?
Well, we've talked about tracking products and managing waste.
But we also need to talk about quality control.
Right.
Because if you're going to be reusing products and remanufacturing products, you need to make sure that they're still high quality.
Exactly.
So how do you manage that?
Well, you need to have robust quality control systems in place that can track products through multiple life cycles.
Okay.
That can ensure that third-party service providers are meeting your standards.
Right, because you're relying on other people to do the work sometimes.
Exactly, and you need to be able to trust that they're doing it right.
Right, so it's not just about your own internal processes. No, it's about making sure that everyone in the chain
in the ecosystem
is meeting those quality standards.
Exactly.
Okay, and then how does procurement fit into all this?
Well, procurement is another area where IT can make a big difference. Because in a circular economy, you're not just looking for the lowest price.
Right.
You're looking for suppliers who share your commitment to sustainability.
Okay.
So you need to be able to track that information.
Yeah.
You need to be able to evaluate suppliers based on their sustainability performance.
Right.
You need to be able to monitor the environmental impact of your purchases.
Okay, so it's almost like procurement is becoming like a sustainability function.
It is. It's becoming much more strategic.
Yeah.
And IT can help.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Supply chain management, CRM, waste management.
Quality control, procurement.
Procurement, yeah.
It's all connected.
And it's all powered by
IT. IT. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, and this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
When it comes to the role of IT in the circular economy.
Yeah, we're going to dive even deeper in part 3.
Okay, I'm excited to hear more about that. So we're back for part 3 of our deep dive, and now it's time to like really get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, let's geek out a little bit.
Yeah, about like the specific technologies that are making the circular economy happen.
Yeah, Jensen really dives into some fascinating stuff here.
Okay, so spill the beans.
Like what?
What's got you so excited?
Well, I mean, we've talked about AI a lot already.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It is, but it's really playing a key role in the circular economy.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Like where exactly is it being used?
Yeah.
Well, one area is waste management.
Okay.
You know how we talked about those robots in recycling plants?
Yeah.
Well, AI is making them even smarter.
Okay.
Like they can now analyze images of waste streams to identify different materials.
Okay.
And even sort them automatically.
So it's like they know what's what.
Exactly. And that means we can recycle more and landfill less.
That's huge.
It is. And AI is also being used to optimize reverse logistics.
Okay.
So remember how we talked about getting products back from customers?
Yeah.
Well, AI can help with that too.
How so?
Well, it can analyze data on product returns to identify patterns and trends.
Okay.
Like which products are more likely to be returned and when they're likely to be returned.
Okay.
And that can help companies optimize their inventory.
Right, so they don't have too much stuff.
Exactly. And it can also help them reduce waste.
Yeah, because they're not like overproducing things that are just going to come back anyway.
Right.
Okay, that's super interesting.
And AI is also being used in the design phase to create products that are more durable, repairable,
and recyclable.
Exactly.
So it's like thinking about the end of life.
From the very beginning.
Yeah, right from the start.
Right. So AI can help designers choose the right materials, optimize the product architecture for disassembly, and even simulate the end-of-life scenarios for products.
Okay, to make sure that they could be easily recycled.
Exactly.
So it's like you're not even just trying to manage the circularity of a product.
Right.
You're designing it in from the start.
Yeah, you're building it into the DNA of the product.
Which is really cool. Okay, so then what about digital twins?
Ah, yes, digital twins.
I know we've talked about those before.
We have.
But I'm still a little fuzzy on like what they are and how they work.
Okay, so a digital twin is basically a virtual replica of a physical product.
Okay.
So you're collecting data from sensors.
On the product.
On the product, yeah.
Okay.
And using that data to build a digital model that mirrors its real-world counterpart.
So it's like a virtual doppelganger.
Exactly.
For your product.
And this can be really valuable for circularity.
Okay.
Well, by monitoring the data from the digital twin, you can gain real-time insights
into the product's performance.
Exactly. You can identify potential problems before they occur.
So you can do like predictive maintenance?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can even optimize the product's usage.
To extend its lifespan.
To extend its lifespan, yeah.
Okay. So it's like you're constantly monitoring the health of the product.
And making adjustments.
And making adjustments as needed.
To keep it running smoothly.
To keep it running smoothly and to keep it out of the landfill.
Exactly.
Okay. And then this is where like the Internet of Things comes in.
Yes. The IoT is essential for digital twins.
Because you need the sensors to collect the data.
You do. The sensors are what feed the digital twin.
Right. Okay.
And that data can then be used to optimize the product's entire life cycle.
From design
to use
end of life.
To end of life. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like this whole
system.
Yeah, this whole ecosystem of technologies
are working together
to make circularity possible.
Exactly.
That's mind-blowing.
It is, and we're just scratching the surface.
Okay, so what else is out there?
Like what other technologies are making a difference?
Yeah, what else is Jensen talking about?
Well, one that might surprise you is blockchain.
Okay, so I thought blockchain was like a cryptocurrency thing.
It is, but it's also a really powerful tool for the circular economy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How so?
Well, blockchain is essentially a secure and transparent way to track and manage data. And that's really important for circularity.
Because you need to be able to track products.
Yeah, throughout their entire life cycle.
Right, from raw materials to end of life.
Exactly, and blockchain can help with that.
So it's like a digital passport.
For your product.
Yeah.
That records every step of its journey.
So you know exactly where it's been.
And what's happened to it.
And that can help build trust with consumers.
Absolutely.
Because they want to know that the products they're buying
are truly sustainable.
Right. Okay, so blockchain is like a traceability tool.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Okay, and then what about 3D printing?
Ah, yes, 3D printing.
That's another one that's like really blowing up right now.
It is, and it has a lot of potential for circularity.
How so?
Well, 3D printing allows you to create products on demand using only the materials you need. So it's very efficient.
And it reduces waste.
Exactly. And it also allows you to create highly customized products that are tailored to specific needs.
So you can create products locally.
Which reduces transportation emissions. And you can make them perfectly suited to their intended use.
Which could potentially extend their lifespan.
Exactly.
Because they're not like a one-size-fits-all product.
Right.
They're designed for a specific purpose.
And 3D printing can also be used to create spare parts. On demand.
So you don't have to scrap a product.
Just because one part is broken.
Right, you could just print a new one.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It is. And it's another example of how technology is enabling circularity.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of really cool technologies here.
We have.
AI, digital twins, IoT, blockchain, 3D printing.
And we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah. But I think the key takeaway is that technology is playing a vital role
in making the circular economy a reality.
And it's not just some futuristic concept.
It's happening now.
Yeah, it's happening all around us.
And it's only going to accelerate from here.
So for anyone listening out there,
whether you're a business leader
or a tech enthusiast,
or just someone who cares about sustainability,
it's time to start paying attention to the circular economy.
And the technologies that are making it possible.
Yeah, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
And I think we've all learned a lot.
I know I have.
So thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
I hope today's discussion gave you a clear understanding of why internal IT is the foundation of a successful circular business model. You should know 3 key insights from this episode. Your IT system must evolve to support circularity. IT systems enable circular business models from real-time tracking of returned products to managing digital product passport. Reverse logistics and supply chain management must be fully digitalized. AI, IoT, and analytics will determine how efficiently manufacturers collect, repair, redistribute, or recycle products, turning what was once waste into value. Circularity requires IT-driven optimization at every level. Inventory management, CRM systems, waste tracking, and procurement platforms must be integrated, automated, and aligned with circular economy goals. To fully grasp how manufacturers can leverage digital transformation for circularity, I encourage you to get my book, where I provide deeper insights into the frameworks and strategies needed for this transition. And because the role of IT in circularity is constantly evolving, I continue to add fresh insights and updates at circularpathwaysbook.com so you can stay ahead. Until next time, keep digitizing, keep optimizing, and keep building a smarter, more competitive circular future.